Hello there. Recently, I decided to start playing Kenshi again. And since I was never very good at it to start with, I decided I'd go with one of the harder starts in the game to really punish myself. The Slaves. This beginning starts you off with a lone companion in the middle of a slave camp hidden away in the wilds of the Holy Nation, a place ruled by xenophobic religious fanatics. A big part of this beginning is the difficulty in escaping your predicament, as each gate is guarded by highly trained soldiers that attack the moment they see you making a run for it. They'll also beat you down and drag you back to your cage to wait for days of healing each and every time that they catch you messing around. Oh no, I got beat unconscious. What will I ever do? Our story begins with the dashingly handsome Frog Rogers II, named for his amputee father who died in the dirt in my first attempt at this. Now, technically, our hero did not start his journey completely alone, as there was a second slave that arrived at the same time as him. But that's not important. They go to the Shadow Realm. After banishing my fellow prisoner, I promptly reported to a cage to avoid getting my ass beat by the guards, and they quickly showed up to outfit me with my new ankle jewelry and put me right to work. One of my work shifts had me mining just outside one of the gates along with another prisoner. I decided to take this opportunity to try and use an exploit I know of to easily train strength by carrying around another prisoner. But the guards immediately caught wind of my shenanigans and put an end to it. Just as the sun was setting, I woke back up and got right to work on picking the locks on my shackles and my cage. Then I spent all night unlocking the cage of the prisoner next to me as he refused to leave and kept locking the door each time I tried to let him out. It made for good lockpicking training. After several hours of trying to convince this crab to climb out of the bucket, I noticed the sun was rising and decided to get in some sneak training before the guards showed up to put us to work. I got distracted and almost didn't notice the guard coming upstairs, just barely making it in my cage before he could see that I was free. He did, however, notice my lack of ankle bracelets and was kind enough to give me a new pair. Once the coast was clear, I broke back out to continue my sneak training, only to get caught again when a guard came up to throw another prisoner in their cage. The next work party I was assigned to had a lack of attentive guards, so I snagged the chance to unlock the shackles of the guy next to me and made off with my new emotional support parrot. There we go. It is said that if you truly love something, you must set it free. So I let my parrot loose and made a poorly planned out escape attempt. It failed. Come nighttime, I was conscious again, so I escaped and decided to train up my assassination skills. Luckily, I had some willing sparring partners. A few hours before sunrise, I discovered that harassing the tied-up slaves was great stealth training, so I ran back and forth taunting them with my freedom until I was sufficiently ninja-like. The following night, I was back at the polls for round 2 with stealth training, and this time I had a realization. Stealth went up a lot faster when hiding from enemies, so I just had to quickly piss off the nearby slaves with a little bonk to the noggin. After handing out a bunch of cups of concussion cola, I ran around like a madman and watched as my stealth skyrocketed. By morning, my stealth had reached 66, so I tried to make it back to a cage before the guards woke up. They spotted me immediately. My next work shift had me on heavy machinery with another potential parrot friend. The guards didn't appreciate my new shoulder-mounted companion. I was a bit fed up with sleeping in a cage every time I needed to recover, and knew that using a bed would accelerate my healing. This led to me sneaking into one of the barracks to try and use their bed. They didn't take too kindly to that. Never mind. They don't want me using their beds. A while later, I discovered that if you're carrying someone and get tied to a pole, it sort of bugs you out unless you escape a certain way, leading me to get my ass kicked again. Yep, that's me. You might be wondering how I got myself in this situation. After sunset, I went for a mad dash out the gate, which went just about as well as you'd expect. Oh, I'm probably gonna lose my leg again. I kept my head down for a couple days to let my wounds heal up, and got to work on planning my final escape attempt. Okay, so I think what I'll do is as soon as it's nightfall, probably cut the binds on all 5 of these guys, see which ones will actually help in the escaped attempt, hope that they distract the guards while I make a run for it. And then as for the hunger, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. There would not be enough time in the night to sneak into the bunkhouse, grab the food. Luckily, all 8 of the neighboring poles were occupied that night, giving me 8 chances to secure an ally for the coming breakout. I ended up with a handful of hopeful escapees, after a few ran off on their own and one decided to stay behind. It was time for the moment of truth. We all knew that there was no chance in all of us making it out, so with a final huddle up, we went for it. In an act of cowardice, I drew back to use the others as a human shield, then circled around and charged through the new opening. There we go. Alright. 2 others made it out behind me, a male Shek and an elderly Scorchlander. The 3 of us sprinted toward freedom as the sound of our fellows dying echoed behind us. It seemed the guards were thoroughly distracted and weren't coming after us, so the 3 of us decided to band together in hopes that we'd survive the trek back to civilization. A quickly growing concern was our lack of food. The guards had kept us on the brink of starvation, and in the rush to escape I hadn't had time to secure any rations for the trip. It would only be a matter of time before hunger brought our end if we didn't find sustenance. As things were starting to look bleak, we stumbled upon a lone Holy Nation soldier battling a pack of wild animals. He was making short work of them, so we waited and hid nearby, hoping to swoop in like vultures for the fresh meat. Alright, if he kills them and he goes away, that's food. Our hopes were quickly shattered when we realized that the meat was inedible for any of us. It was simply there to taunt our growling stomachs. We'd have to keep searching and pray for a miracle. I was constantly watching my hunger bar, knowing that if dropped below 79, I'd drop unconscious and one of the others would have to carry me, which would only accelerate their demise as well. Then I spotted it, a building in the distance. Building meant people. People meant there could be food. When we weren't immediately attacked for approaching the building, I took that as a sign that we were in the right place, and I got us all inside. While the others kept watch, I started searching every container I could pry open in search of anything we could eat. However, someone noticed we were there and started telling us we needed to leave. Now we were on a time crunch. A fight would mean certain death. Inside the very last container, I finally found it. 5 pieces of glorious bread. I grabbed them and we made a run for it before the owner of the building could do anything about us. After making our getaway, and with starvation warded off for now, we decided to head to the hub. The problem was we didn't know where it was, except that it was somewhere south and somewhat near a swamp. So, southerly and swamperly, we went. As we wandered around the endless deserts and canyons, we happened upon a tech hunter outpost, and they welcomed us inside where we could try to buy food. Only if we had some money to do so. By chance, there was a lump of iron ore nearby ripe for mining, and as escaped slaves, we knew just what to do. With our pockets full of ore and a few pelts I had snagged from that pack of dead animals, we walked in to sell our wares and buy food and bandages. Then we went right back to work to save up some more money before continuing our journey south. Things were going pretty smoothly until we were suddenly beset upon by a group of hungry bandits. At our present state, we were in no condition to fight back, so we ran back to the outpost to let the tech hunters deal with the problem. On the way there, a pack of wild animals got involved as well, and it became an all-out brawl. Between the hunters and the animals, the bandits were quickly dispatched, leaving us to loot all the goods. After tallying all the loot, we had enough food to last quite a while. We all had relatively new clothes, weapons, and a bit of money to spend on something special. A round of facial reconstruction and haircuts for everyone, so that any bounty hunters wouldn't be able to recognize us. With everyone sporting new faces and suddenly growing facial hair, there was no point in sticking around the outpost any longer, and we went on our way. And now I have heartburn. Yay. Oh. After what felt like days of wandering, we found ourselves in the city of Morn, which meant we were massively off course. You see, the mining camp, Rebirth, that we escaped from, was here. The city of Morn is over here. And the hub, our destination, is all the way over here. Not only had we gone the wrong way, but we'd traveled twice the distance we needed to, and would need to travel almost half that way back. Now, we did have the supplies on hand to make that journey, so really all that was wasted was my time and our energy. Since we were already here, we stopped at the traveling goods store to get a couple backpacks to make carrying any cargo we got that much easier going forward. With everything we needed accounted for, and our proper course set, we were off again. Alright. See how this goes. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a big thing appeared and tore us apart. It left us alive but broken for a moment, and we tried to bandage our wounds and make a run for it. your leg getting worse or not. For a brief moment, I thought that we might make it away battered but alive. Then it came back. Son of a bitch! Run away, Frog. Okay. Well, that's fucking great. He's dead. He's about to die. He's being eaten alive. Great. Love it. Oh, geez. Oh, wow. Look what's coming through your window. With everything we needed accounted for, and our proper course set, we were off again. As we were running along, there was, suddenly, unexpectedly, a pack of beak things that attacked. I had the idea for the three of us to split and run in separate directions, hoping that the creatures would pick one sacrificial lamb and let the others escape. It looked like Shaku had pulled the short straw, and we offered a silent prayer to him as the beak things got to feasting, knowing that he was doomed, but had saved us. A bit later, I glanced down at the squad portraits and noticed something. Shaku wasn't dead. Confused, I moved to go look and found that the beak things had gotten distracted and hadn't finished the job on him. Shaku had a chance to survive this after all. He used up the bandages that he had on him, and then maneuvered around the beak things to continue on his way to the hub, still slowly bleeding out, but very much alive. I decided that Frog and Photo couldn't just turn around and go back for him, not wanting to risk them running into a pack of beak things again. Shaku would just have to make it through long enough for them to regroup at some point. After several more hours of running, Frog and Photo finally made it to the hub, but I realized that we didn't have enough money for supplies to go back for Shaku yet, so we stopped to quickly mine some copper to sell. While they worked, I was constantly keeping an eye on Shaku's condition, making sure he was stable and that nothing had attacked him, so I was only barely surprised when he came under attack by swamp bandits. Luckily, they only knocked him out and went on their way, leaving him bleeding more than before, but still able to waddle toward the hub. After selling off the copper, we had enough to afford the food and medical supplies, and Frog went on his way to find Shaku. Photo went back to mining copper to shore up her finances. There he is! There's our boy! Frog made it back to Shaku with time to spare, as he wasn't even reduced or crawling yet. Frog applied the proper medical care, then picked him up and ran back to the hub with him over his shoulder. Once we made it safely back, Frog rented a bed at the bar for Shaku to heal up, and then went back to copper mining so that we could save up for a house. Just after Shaku was well enough to work again, I found a better copper deposit that allowed 2 people to work it at once, so Shaku and Photo got to it. Alright. I didn't realize this was over here. With Frog working by his lonesome, he was unable to fight back when a group of hungry bandits decided to swarm him. His injuries were fairly minor, and he was able to get back to work. In only a few short hours of work, we'd sold enough copper to put a payment on our very own house. Though it was a tax auction, so the previous occupants left it a bit disheveled. But hey, sight unseen! We had to make multiple trips to the surrounding stores to get the building materials to turn this heap of ruin into a home, but it was all worth it. And this is where I stopped for the evening. It had been just under 6 real-life hours to get to this point, when I include the first attempt with Frog Rogers I. And now look, just over a week ago, these 3 men were wasting away in a Holy Nation slave camp, and now they were homeowners and productive members of society. Who knew just how far they could go? Until next time.